What is going on, trainers? DrumVillain here, bringing you some more Pokemon Go PvP content, and today we're talking about a team that I used to hit Legend rank this season, that is Season 11, in Go Battle League, and also we're going to be shiny checking my Pikachu Libre for this season, so stay tuned for that towards the end of the video. Now, there's nothing too particularly spicy about this team. It is pretty hard meta, but honestly, if you're going up for Legend rank and those upper echelons of competitive play in Pokemon Go, you're going to have to be using competitive teams, competitive Pokemon, and this team is very effective. Even against some lines where you're getting countered in the lead and on the safe swap, it's still able to hold its own quite effectively. Now, I know at the minute that it's currently the Hisuian Cup and the Master League that are available in Go Battle League, and this team is an Ultra League team, but I hit Legend rank just before the cups were changing over, and I still wanted to share these battles with you guys, share this team with you guys, because it might come in handy the next time Ultra League comes around in a couple of weeks. Also, I realised, guys, I haven't uploaded to the channel in like 4 weeks or something at this point. I've been having a bit of personal stuff going on in my own life. I'm not going to get into it here, but I have been battling, I have been recording matchups. I've got hundreds of battles at this point recorded with different teams in different leagues, and I'll probably use that footage to make some more videos for you guys as some of these leagues cycle back around. So be sure to hit the subscribe button to be notified when those videos go up and keep in the loop on what we're doing here on the channel. And let's take a look at today's team, and the lead is going to be Talonflame. If you guys remember, a short while ago I made a video in the Ultra League using a team that was designed to counter Walrein in the Ultra League as a whole, and this team is a slight tweak on that one. That team was Talonflame, Shadow Snorlax and Cresselia, and this one is Talonflame on the lead, and then Scrafty and Cresselia in the back. My Scrafty is a 100% IV Scrafty, which means you can get more bulk out of your Scrafty if you use one of the PvP IVs and max it out more, but I already had a level 40 100% IV Scrafty that I'd already built, so I decided just to amp it up a little bit more and just stick with that one rather than invest the extra dust and XL candy. This team still has the advantage of dealing with Walrein incredibly well. Every Pokemon can hang with it pretty easily. Scrafty is a little bit more weak to Charm in the back than Shadow Snorlax is, but also Scrafty is a very good answer to those Drapion and Skuntank safe swaps that are becoming more and more popular in the Ultra League in general, and those were safe swaps at the previous line with Shadow Snorlax we're struggling more with, since Drapion is resisting that lick damage thanks to its dark typing. So as we said, a very hard meta line, but let's see how this team actually works in combat. And I'm telling you, pretty much every trainer in this video that I'm battling against is already Legend rank, so everyone's trying to gatekeep me from Legend rank right now, but let's see how this team holds up against their teams. So, the first lead we've got is the lead of Dreams, and that is a Alolan Ninetales. You definitely want to see this on the lead. You at least want to keep it away from Scrafty. Both Cresselia and Talonflame can kind of hang pretty well with Ninetales, Talonflame doing particularly well, but making sure Scrafty stays away is of the utmost importance. Now, this trainer swaps into a Jellicent running Bubble rather than Hex, which means that this Jellicent can do a little bit better against Scrafty than a Jellicent that's running Hex. But still, unless they've got Ice Beam, they're going to have to be going for Bubble Beams or resisted Shadow Balls, which Scrafty can take all day, even though the Scrafty doesn't have as much bulk of some of the bigger XL Scrafties you're going to see in Ultra League. And even though we're getting debuffed, you're still only going to have to land 3 foul plays. Unless they like quad debuff you before you throw any foul plays, they're not going to be able to take more than 3. We're making sure to maximize on our energy before we throw as well, throwing just before they get to another Bubble Beam, just to get that little bit extra energy. It's going to mean absolutely nothing because we go down to 2 charms, but I like to try and practice maximizing energy in every situation, throwing as late as possible. Just for general matchups, it comes in more handy than in situations like that, where you're against something as hard walling as a Charmer to Scrafty. Now, we actually have a Giratina swap in to meet the Talonflame. We decide it's worth throwing a Brave Bird to either do big damage or get a shield, and we do get a shield. That's fantastic. We're going to bring in Cresselia and just start throwing the Moonblast. And since this is a Dragon Breath Giratina, we're in an even stronger position than usual because the fast move damage is adding up a little bit slower, and also the energy is adding up slower for them to be throwing Shadow Sneaks. And this Giratina isn't even throwing Shadow Sneaks, they're actually just throwing straight Dragon Claws, which gives us even less pressure to have to shield. The switch timers are out of sync, but that doesn't matter. We throw a Moonblast to stall out the Ninetales a little bit before we bring in Talonflame. And now we're probably just going to farm down entirely, I think, at this point, and then just dump a Brave Bird into the Giratina. And if they do survive it, then we're going to store a Moonblast as well from Cresselia and should be finishing off just fine. Now the problem here is that you can't stack 2 Brave Birds on Talonflame, which is quite unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter. We're going to get to throw 1. They shouldn't be able to get enough energy to get another move off before we get to this Moonblast. It's going to be very, very close, actually, considering how strong of a lead it was and how big of a punish Scrafty is to Jellicent. The opponent's still able to push that game down to the wire, but we're still able to take that win. GG. So as you can see, we're currently at 2977 ELO ranking, so we're definitely going to be looking for that at least 4 out of 5 wins to make the jump. And the next lead we've got is Walrein. So you're going to see how this team handles Walrein just as well as the previous one did, and we have a similar strategy in that we just build up some energy. Once they throw an Icicle Spear, that's fine. We're going to throw Brave Bird straight away because everything on the team handles Walrein. So we're going to throw it and then swap immediately to Cresselia, because Cresselia can tank some damage if they do decide to throw. And this opponent absolutely drops the ball in this situation, and they bring in Shadow Swampert, which is not a good answer to Cresselia at all, especially since we've got Grass Knot, which is going to be hugely threatening to this thing. The opponent chooses to drop a shield, so we're going to match that shield because an Earthquake would do big damage. It wouldn't take us out by any means. They would need to land more than 1, but still, if they're willing to commit a shield, we don't want to get pushed down to the point where we're being pressured to shield Hydro Cannons. So the Swampert shields once, we shield once, and then they decide to let that go through and they get taken out. That's fine. We've now got a Grass Knot ready to throw at the Walrein, which we are going to throw. We're not feeling pressured to shield these moves at all because we've still got Talonflame, we've still got Scrafty, we're confident we can handle whatever's in the back. So we're going to see what they decide to bring in. We're going to swap out aggressively into Talonflame because we're confident we can make it to a Brave Bird against whatever comes in. And lo and behold, what happens to swap in? They're not going to be able to get there in time to take us out. We're going to get to the Brave Bird. This poor Toxicroak is going to get absolutely boomed. It's gone, it's out of there. And we're very lucky that we did manage to take out that Toxicroak because it can deal with Scrafty reasonably well. We'd have struggled to take it out, and they might have been able to sweep that last bit of the match with Toxicroak. So matchup number 3, and we've got Mandibuzz on the lead. Mandibuzz is a very, very bulky boy, and depending on the moveset depends on the kind of coverage that it has against our team specifically. If it's running Snarl, it does very, very well against our Cresselia, and if it's running Air Slash, it does quite well against Scrafty. Whereas Snarl, Mandibuzz, struggles a little bit with Scrafty to take it out because it's depending on damage from Aerial Ace, which everybody knows is a terrible move. Fortunately for us, the opponent swaps out into a Swampert. We can line Cresselia up very, very comfortably, and we're going to land the Grass Knot and go for a very aggressive farm down. We're going to take this Earthquake, doesn't matter, we're not too concerned. Now going to be able to dump Moonblast into the Mandibuzz if it does come back in, which they do. That's absolutely fine, and it turns out the Mandibuzz is running Snarl. So as long as we've spent the Cresselia, which we did to take out the Swampert, we're not too concerned overall about what happens to Cresselia now. We might be tempted to swap out and preserve it just in case Cresselia is useful against the last Pokemon in the back, but we're not that confident that it is going to be that useful. The joint coverage between Talonflame and Scrafty at this point is absolutely immense. There's very few things that could deal with both of those Pokemon. So we're going to bring in Talonflame here, start farming down. The opponent swaps out into a Jellicent, and lucky for us it's a Hex Jellicent, so there's very little that this thing can do unless it's running Ice Beam, which we're willing to gamble that it's not an Ice Beam, wouldn't one-shot, so we can definitely let the first one through. Either way, and it is just Bubble Beam. We're not feeling too pressured to throw the foul play straight away, even though these Bubble Beams are debuffing us. We're more concerned about making sure that they don't get a free Hex through entirely, so we're timing our throws specifically to be 1 turn before they finish a Hex animation. And like I said, that might seem silly because we're getting debuffed quite quickly, but Jellicent still cannot take 3 foul plays at this point, so we're just going to keep throwing them in now. We're doing reasonable damage. The Jellicent's already down close to half of its health, and we've only landed 1 foul play at this point, so you can see that the Bubble Beam debuffs are kind of irrelevant in this match, but at this point the Jellicent's built up a ton of energy. It could be Shadow Ball, could be Ice Beam, do a bigger chunk of damage is the Shadow Ball, but honestly the Jellicent's really going to struggle to even farm us down with Hex at this point because it is still resisted, and honestly Talonflame could handle both the Jellicent and the Mandibuzz at this point because the Jellicent is so low, it's in single Flame Charge range, let alone Brave Bird. So after we take 1 more hit on Scrafty, we're going to swap straight to Talonflame, throw a Flame Charge straight away, take out the Jellicent, and then we're going to be able to handle this Mandibuzz absolutely no problem because it is far too low to be able to threaten us. We're not even going to go for a Brave Bird to finish. 1 more Flame Charge will do just fine, and we're going to take a confident win in that matchup. Still with a shield, time is coming up. but it's all good. GG's to that opponent. If an opponent stays in with the Mandibles on the lead, I would be tempted to stay in with Talonflame in general, just because, like I said, depending on the moveset, it either deals with Cresselia or Scrafty very well, so you're not very safe to swap out in general and risking a bad lineup later on, whereas Talonflame goes very toe-to-toe with Mandibles. Matchup number 4, we've got a Charizard with a Party Hat on the lead. Legacy moves on this thing. You love to see the costume Pokemon getting flexed in Go Battle League. And we're going to shield up a Blast Burn, which is absolutely fantastic for us. And we're hoping to get a shield out of them with this Flame Charge. Maybe we will, maybe we won't, see what happens. But we're happy just to get the chunk of damage off either way. And we're going to be going for one more. They're going to throw a move. And I don't want to gamble that I'll get a Dragon Breath down before I get another move off. Nope, I am going to gamble. That's a big question. We get met with a Dragon Claw at the last possible second on CMP tie. So very well played by that opponent, playing that matchup out just right. Really, should have just let the last Dragon Claw come through and brought in Scrafty instead of getting ahead on energy. The opponent's going to try and catch a foul play on Cresselia, which we hesitate for a second, but then we decide we might as well actually throw the foul play at Cresselia, build up to another foul play, and swap out into our Cresselia, because we want to spend Cresselia here because it does struggle against the Charizard, and we figure we can come out of this matchup with a Moonblast loaded pretty much, so that we can take out the Charizard and hopefully deal with whatever's in the back as well. So we're going to keep throwing Moonblast here, but making sure we've got a bit of energy saved up in reserve, ready to throw if we need to. So at this point, we're probably going to build up to almost 100 energy. Yeah, we're going to throw a Grass Knot at this point as well, because I believe that Cresselia is just outside of Moonblast range, so we might as well throw the slightly less energy efficient move. Charizard comes in. It's going to get, I think this is just a Dragon Claw. It's a Blast Burn. That's going to do big damage, not quite take us out though. This is a little bit unfortunate. If we'd have thrown the Moonblast a second sooner to take them out, would have been in a better position. We're swapping Scrafty, snipe the Charizard down very, very quickly, and just see what the opponent decides to do from this point. We're throwing a foul play straight away, and it's a Meganium that comes in and meets us. So maybe we'd have been better throwing a power-up punch first to amp up the counters, and then going for a foul play. But at this point, this Meganium is building up a ton of energy, so we're going to go for a power-up punch now, and then hopefully throw a foul play straight after. Well, the opponent's going to throw energy here, and we think they're actually at 2 Frenzy Plants, are they already? Not quite. They're going to catch the foul play on their Cresselia. Absolutely fantastic catch. Fantastic counting by the opponent there, and that is probably going to cost us this game. Meganium's going to throw a Frenzy Plant at our Cresselia, take us out, and they're going to take that win. GG, and a bit of an unconventional team for the Ultra League as well. Meganium and Charizard often not used as much as things like Talonflame and Venusaur, but great to see them being put to use and taking some wins at the higher rankings. Alright, matchup 5, Giratina lead. Not a good lead for Talonflame in general, running Shadow Claw as well, which makes it a little bit worse for swapping Cresselia into. We're going to build straight up to the Brave Bird, throw it straight away, and then swap to Cresselia, see what the opponent decides to do. This Giratina is going to choose to start dumping some energy into Cresselia, which we're happy to let happen, because although the Shadow Sneaks are super effective and the Shadow Claws are, it doesn't do enough in a single Shadow Sneak to really flip that many matchups either which way, so we're not that pressured to shield it. They're going to bring in a Charm, a Low, and Ninetales, and we're just going to start going for these charge moves, start chipping them down. We're not going to shield these moves, because if the Ninetales does take us out with some health left, we're just going to farm it down with Talonflame towards throwing another Brave Bird at that Giratina when it comes back in. We might just make this Grass Knot, and we do, by the skin of our teeth, just making it to this. This might pressure a shield, which it does. That's absolutely fantastic for us, because either we'd have took them out and been able to line up Scrafty with Giratina, which would have been fantastic, or we get Talonflame here and it gets an energy lead ready to throw, like we said, Brave Bird at this Giratina. We're going to let this move come through because it's not going to do that much damage on its own. We're confident they don't have ancient power, and we're going to throw this straight away. Again, they'll have to shield this or get taken out, and we've still got 2 shields, so hopefully Scrafty can sweep whatever's in the back. They let Giratina go down, we bring in Scrafty. It's a Scrafty mirror match, and in this case, because we've got 2 shields, we can block both power-up punches, and we'll just be able to counter them down while ramping up our damage. So that's just going to be a good game to us, and that is going to give us our 4th win in this set, and should guarantee that we get the legend rank. The opponent's going to surrender there. They realise that all is lost. So we're going to take that win, and let's claim our rewards. Talonflame is honestly such a beast in the Ultra League, and I'm pretty sure the reason that they've introduced Hisuian Arcanine the way they have this week, with it being fire and rock typing with dark moves to boot, is pretty much to shut down Talonflames in the Ultra League. So I'm going to be excited to see how that shifts the Ultra League meta moving forward the next time it comes around. So I've got one more set of battles for you guys to get us towards that Pikachu Libre encounter, and in this matchup we've got an Umbreon lead, a Shundo Umbreon at that. And the way I start this matchup is throwing 4 Incinerates before throwing a Flame Charge, and the reason for that is to do with how the 3s of Umbreon's fast move add up. It means that you're going to throw the charge move 1 turn before they're on count, so they don't get a free snarl through, because for a Pokemon like Umbreon that's all about energy generation, them sneaking snarls through is a huge difference in most matchups. Let's foul play go, throw 1 more Incinerate, then we're going to throw the Brave Bird. If they don't shield, this will take them out, and we're going to be shielding any charge moves after this point anyway, so it doesn't matter, we're debuffing ourselves. Takes out the Umbreon, boom, that's a very nice position to be in. And we make a mistake. We want to preserve the Talonflame because it's debuffed, right? But you're going to see how this plays out and actually screws us over in the end. We swap Cresselia out, like a knee-jerk reaction, very quickly swap out Cresselia, which is a bad idea in general because they bring in a Talonflame and Cresselia struggles in this matchup. But we're going to be going for the Moonblast. We're going to put what work in we can already, and we're just going to hope that Scrafty and Talonflame between them can deal with whatever's in the back, even though our Talonflame at this point is pretty low and probably wasn't worth preserving. Anyway, Flame Charge coming through. We're going to go for the Grass Knot, the Moonblast. We're going to get there, not quite. But this Talonflame's in farm down range anyway, so we're not feeling too much pressure. Going to bring in our Talonflame, I believe, and Flame Charge them down, or maybe Scrafty. Now, we'll bring the Talonflame, and they've got a Clefable in the back. They've still got 2 shields. Nothing we can do. This thing can just charm down Scrafty without even breaking a sweat. We've lost this game, and that's going to be a G to the opponent. We should have just let Talonflame go down to their Talonflame, brought in Scrafty, and then actually saved our Cresselia to deal with their Clefable, and we might have been looking okay. Stunfisk lead in the next match. It's a bit of a messy one, and we try to catch a Rock Slide on Cresselia. They don't throw the Rock Slide straight away, so we're not looking to be in a fantastic position at this point because his Stunfisk is loaded. But we know that Scrafty can do pretty well in this situation. Cresselia can hold its own against Stunfisk, even though it's a Steel type, because that Grass Knot neutral damage really does add up over time, and Cresselia can really tank those charge moves quite well. I think we're going to be tempted to shield this because we're confident it's an Earthquake, which it is, and that's a position a lot of people often don't decide to take, is shielding Earthquakes when from Stunfisk when you know you can take it. But the only other alternative is that you're going to be pressured to shield a Rock Slide later on when they get you low enough with those Earthquakes. So you might as well shield a big energy move like Earthquake, because you see there the Stunfisk has returned the shield because it didn't want to get taken out by Cresselia. They probably have one answer to Talonflame in the back that they're realizing that they really have to line up towards the end of this game. But at this point we're going to let the Cresselia go down. It's another Earthquake, that's fine. That means that this Stunfisk is energy dry, so we should be able to farm down before they get a move off, which we are able to. That's fantastic for us. They've got Tapu Fini in the back, Water Fairy, right? We've got Talonflame and Scrafty, there's nothing we can do, yeah? Well, we land the Brave Bird, swap out into Scrafty, and a Alolan Ninetales comes in to charm us down. That's absolutely disgusting. Scrafty is going to serve almost no purpose in this match other than to clear the Brave Bird debuff from Talonflame, and the plan now is to farm down this Ninetales entirely and then hopefully throw a Flame Charge and a Brave Bird at the Tapu Fini to hopefully take them out. But we're not able to get the farm down, and we're getting very, very low. Look at the health on Talonflame. We cannot survive 5 Water Guns, which means we cannot throw 2 charge moves at Tapu Fini. We can't throw a Flame Charge and a Brave Bird, even though they've got a shield. So the play we have to go for is just throw a Brave Bird straight off the bat and hope that they don't shield, being worried about 2 charge moves. So we do. The only win condition is throwing this, them not shielding it. Boom, they don't shield. We take them out, we take the win. They go down with a shield. GG's to the opponent. You guys always have to go for the win condition, no matter whether you expect you're going to get it or not, whether you expect them to shield. It was obvious for them to shield if you really thought about it at that point, but they were expecting 2 charge moves, even though I knew I couldn't make it to the 2 that I needed to throw. So just throwing it happened to get one through and happened to get that very lucky win. This next matchup, a Tapu Fini lead, is incredibly punishing to Talonflame and Scrafty Core because both of them are resisted. But they're going to swap out to catch a Brave Bird on Greedent, which I'm not too unhappy with because I'm going to be able to build up a lot of energy here. And yes, Scrafty loses to Tapu Fini, but Tapu Fini has to throw, is it Moonblast it has? It has a Fairy Charge move, which is like a nuke that it has to throw for big damage. And all that while they're building up to that, Scrafty's doing, it is resisted damage, but it does add up. And we have thrown a power-up punch already, so we are doing a little bit more damage than usual. So we're just going to keep chipping away here, keep throwing these moves and put the work in. We're going to shield this up, expecting it to be the Moonblast, and it is, which is absolutely fantastic for us at this point, because that Tapu Fini takes a while to build up energy, because Water Gun isn't the best move in the game for energy generation. They're going to realise they're going to get farmed down and swap out into a Walrein, which they had in the back, and Scrafty is going to be able to put some serious work in here because we're already mega amped up. We might choose to shield this up actually from now. We'll let it go. We're not getting too far ahead of ourselves there. We're going to bring in Cresselia here now and start building up energy. We need to land a Grass Knot and maybe 2 Grass Knots. It's not quite sure. It is a Shadow Walrein, so the Grass Knot hits quite hard, but it has got a little bit more than half of its health left. We're going to shield this up because this could be Earthquake. We're expecting it might be. It's not. That is a very ballsy call from us there to not shield that up, because if that was Earthquake, that would have really done some serious damage to us. We get the Grass Knot through, and we're going to Psycho Cut down at this point because they're that low, and now we can just dump 2 Grass Knots or just Psycho Cut down the Tapu Fini, and we're going to take that game. GG to the opponent, and Tapu Fini is an awful lead for that team, and them even catching a Brave Bird and still was able to take the win in that matchup is really impressive for the team. Next matchup, we've got a Dragonite lead, and this is quite unusual for the Ultra League, so we're going to swap straight out to Scrafty, and that might seem like a weird decision because we're running counter, so it's going to be resisted by the Dragonite, but Dragonite's squishy, and these foul players are going to do big damage if they get through. So it's going to keep chipping away here, we're going to keep throwing foul plays. We're going to shield this up, they threw a lot of energy, and it's a Hurricane. They went for the one-shot nuking of us, probably expecting us to not shield if we were expecting a Dragon Claw. So that gives us a bit of an edge here because the Dragonite spent a lot of energy, and we're going to let this go through. We're expecting a Dragon Claw, and we're thinking we might survive, which we do. We're going to be able to counter down Scrafty winning in the one-shield situation there with Dragonite because we were lucky to shield up the Earthquake, and we were able to throw a foul play at this Shadow Swampert that comes in for some nice chip damage, and this is fantastic because it means we can line up Cresselia with the Swampert and keep Talonflame for whatever else they have in the back. They've got a Cofagrigus in the back, which isn't an amazing matchup for Talonflame, but it's not terrible either. These two Pokemon can go very much toe-to-toe with each other. We're just going to absorb this Shadow Ball because really we know that Cresselia is the win condition because we need it to deal with the Swampert and that it can take the charge moves relatively well. They've got a no-shield a Flame Charge, which is a big call. We're going to go straight for another one, and we're expecting them to shield this up because they need Cofagrigus to take out the Cresselia. They're going to Shadow Claw us down entirely, but we are already at a Grass Knot, and that will be enough to take out the Cofagrigus. This is worth a shield. We can guarantee throwing the Grass Knot straight away because it will CMP tie, and then all we need to do is survive long enough to throw a Grass Knot at the Swampert on the opposing side. And even though this Swampert has an absolute boatload of energy, it's not going to be able to take us out fast enough. Even I think if they threw double Earthquake, they might have just been shy on knocking us out. It would have been a lot closer. And this is an Earthquake coming through now. It's not quite going to be enough. We've got the Grass Knot off. We're going to take them out and we're going to take that win. GG. So Scrafty been able to deal with the Dragonite. Absolutely flipped that game in our favour because we'd have not won switch advantage. We'd have had Swampert against Talonflame and Cofagrigus against Cresselia and would have been really stuck there. Alright, last matchup I've got for you guys with this team, and you're going to watch me get absolutely schooled in this game. Melmetal is quite a tough lead for Talonflame because that Rock Slide that it has access to is going to do monstrous damage, being double super effective. But we decide we want to throw a Flame Charge, and they actually catch it on a Swampert, which is absolutely insane. Like, the Melmetal is in a reasonably strong position already, so swapping out into Swampert is an unconventional play that I was not expecting, and it meant that they can catch a bunch of energy from Talonflame, redirect it, and that puts them in a much stronger position than they already were in. We're able to punish the Swampert with our Cresselia, and this is a nice position to be in because we don't have to farm down with Psycho Cut after landing a Grass Knot because we'd already had some shit damage from the Flame Charge. But this means that Melmetal is going to get lined up with the Cresselia, and we're going to be really struggling here to get this thing down. Melmetal is nowhere near as bulky as Registeel is, So Cresselia can threaten Melmetal if the Melmetal hesitates on throwing energy. If you happen to run Future Sight on your Cresselia rather than Moonblast, that can put in a lot of work as well. We do get the attack debuff, which is pretty nice. And now it's going to go for double Grass Knot, depending on how much they want to hesitate on throwing their energy. We want them to feel pressured to throw and throw quickly rather than coming out of this matchup with extra energy. The opponent's got a Dragon Breath Giratina in the back that they bring in. So we're going to get Scrafty in here as fast as we can, but we are down a shield, and Dragon Breath Giratina can do much better against Scrafty and Obstagoon than the Shadow Claw counterpart. And you're going to see how that adds up in this matchup. We're not going to show this up because we know there's going to be more than one Dragon Claw coming through anyway. And we figure a shield might be better spent on Talonflame in this game instead, depending on how the end of it works out. Maybe we'll end up throwing a Brave Bird and then swap into the Cresselia to clear the debuff. Something like that. We might have to shield a Rock Slide from the Melmetal. So we're going to bring Talonflame back in here. We're not going to shield this move up, praying that it's not an Ancient Power. It's going to be Dragon Claw, that's completely fine. And now we're going to throw the Flame Charge. This might not quite take out the Giratina, but it's going to get it very low. We get a shield out of them, which is even better. We try to catch a move on Cresselia. We're not able to get that catch right there. We're going to not shield another Dragon Claw. We're getting very, very low at this point. We keep wanting to try and catch, but obviously Talonflame is incredibly hard to catch a charge move on something else from because you're so predictable with the slow Incinerate damage. They're going to get up to another move. We're going to be taken out, and that's going to be a GG to this opponent, and that's going to round out the second set of battles. But we did manage to take 3 wins, which is going to be enough to give us our Pikachu Libre check. Is it a shiny? It's not, but 533 is very big CP for a Pikachu Libre. So I think that it ends up being a 98% if I remember rightly, which very, very happy with all the same. One of these seasons, I swear I'm going to get shiny Pikachu Libre. I'm absolutely praying for it every single time. Would be a fantastic shiny to have to flex. So let me know what you guys thought of the team down below. If you've got any team suggestions or Pokemon you want me to try, also let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button. I think the next video I'm going to focus on doing is going to be a Hisuian Cup team. So if you guys want to see that, be sure to hit the subscribe button to stay up to date for when that goes live. And I will catch all of you absolute legends next time.